episode 40. Hello everyone and welcome to Wolff&Schafe Podcast. My name is Magdalena and this is my little kitty co-host, the Marat. Meow! It's episode 40. It is amazing actually. It's been 40 episodes now. Can't talk. So I'm pretty excited that I got to 40 really, and thank you so much to everyone who supported me all this time. And if you have just tuned in, thank you so much for checking out my podcast. This is a knitting, spinning and dyeing yarn podcast in Switzerland, in the little town of Adliswil. I'm Polish, but I live here with my family. And yeah, we have Tuesday, not Monday. We have a Tuesday, November 15th of 2016. And you can find me on Ravelry and Instagram under my full name, which is Magdalena Wolff with double F. And if you enjoy my show, please subscribe to my channel on YouTube. And what else? Oh yeah, my show notes are always in the down bar below, and helpful links you can find in the video description here on YouTube. We have also a Ravelry group, Wolff&Schafe Podcast group, where you can participate in our knit-alongs. So yay! I think we can start with knitting. I have 2 finished objects, you guys. Yes! First up, I have a pair of these. So these are knitted knockers that we are knitting, we as our Knitted Knockers Zurich group. We knit them for breast cancer survivors, and our first goal is to knit 20 pairs, and then we can start, offer them to the clinic in Zurich, and then see what happens next. So this is a pair cup C, and I'm using this yarn, which is Long Yarns Tisa. It's 100% machine washable cotton. And one skein, which is 50-gram skein, was not enough for a pair of cup C knitted knockers. So I had to improvise a bit, because the pattern says that if you run out of yarn, you can here, when you start your decreases on the back, you could use another color, because it's not, it looks okay when you do that. But I ran out of yarn somewhere around here, so I had this much to finish, and I thought, well, I went to a yarn store and I found this skein. It's not the same colorway, but it's very similar. The difference is this fresh green part, and it doesn't make patterns like this. It's much more scattered, I'd say, because the dots of color are much shorter. But I think it is okay. They wouldn't be identical anyway, because I would have to waste quite a lot of yarn to try to make them match. So I think it looks nice and good. My other finished object is this Isn't it wonderful? It's my Wolff&Schafe shawl by Agata Mackiewicz, also known as Amanita. And yes, it's blocked, it's ready, it's finished, I'm happy. It goes to my sister for Christmas. I hope she will like it. I think she should, because it's also very soft. I almost want to keep it for myself, but then what do I give her for Christmas? It's always a pain to find presents, and I always try to do that in advance, so then I can enjoy my pre-Christmas time and not be stressed about the presents. So yes, the leaves. I think I could zoom in for you to see the leaves. Yeah. Just a moment. Okay. So this is how they look like. Yes. And the yarn that I've used, just a moment. This is what I have left of the border, the contrasting color. It's my hand-dyed yarn, Wolff&Schafe Sigmund, which is 100% sustainable merino. And the main color is in Sakura colorway, and the contrasting color is On the Coldest Winter Night, a color inspired by a song by my favorite band. So yay! And I'm drinking Gyokuro Japanese tea again, because it's just amazing. And I'm already worried what will happen when I drink it all. It's hard. Anyway, oh yeah, about knitting. We have a knit-along going on. It's apropos this. Because it's my Christmas knitting. So we have a winter gifts knit-along going on, and you can check it out on our Ravelry group. The theme is basically gift knitting. It doesn't have to be for Christmas, it can be for any other occasion. It just needs to be for someone else. And the deadline is not Christmas, it's January 16th of 2017. Yes, so we have two threads on Ravelry. One is a chatter thread, where you can post as many posts as you like, and you can comment on other people's progress, and and chat. And the other thread is for finished objects. So there I ask you to post only one post, which you can edit as many times as you like, just as so that it's only one post, because when I draw the prize, I use the number of your post as your number. And there already is, I think, at least 2 projects there. By one person, but yeah, as I said, one post per person. Oh my gosh. I'm getting tangled in my own thoughts, sorry. So these are my finished objects. I'm so happy this is done. It took me so long. Also, Barbara from Knitting I Love podcast. Hi, bye, Barbara. She was also knitting this shawl, also from my yarn, and yeah, we were chatting about it, and she said, like, one leaf takes me 15 minutes, so it means whole border takes me 10 hours, and I'm like, oh my god. Then I measured, and it turned out that my leaf takes me 18 minutes. So I'm not as fast, but I finished, I completed it, and I'm happy. Yes, I'm happy. So next up, works in progress, so-called whips. First up, my flax sweater, which I hope will be my Christmas sweater that I can wear on Christmas. I have finished the body. The body's done, and it also has, as on the ribbing, I mean on the collar, not. It has these fake cables that I borrowed from Wolff&Schafe, and I think it looks really nice. Oh. Blurry, not blurry. And I've started the sleeves. So I'm somewhere, yeah, I have this much of the sleeves, but both of them, because I'm knitting them on the magic loop. Yeah, the pattern is Flax by Tinka Knits, and I'm using 5mm needles, which is US size 8, and I'm magic looping. This cable is 100cm cable, and it's just enough. I would prefer to have a longer cable with it, but it works. What else? Yeah, the yarn I'm using is my hand-dyed yarn Wolff&Schafe Romulus in Willow colorway, and it's worsted weight superwash merino yarn, which is very soft and nice and squishy, and I'm loving the effect. So yeah, it took me quite a while to put all the stitches on the magic loop, because when I had my, where are they? I used these stitch holders. See, there are like safety pins, but without the part here. Ta-da! So I used them, and it turned out that whatever I did, I couldn't just simply start knitting with my needles. I had to put the stitches from the stitch holder to another pair of circular needles, then put them back, half of them, and it was quite complicated, but now, yes, I'm knitting 2 at a time, which is perfect because I don't have to worry whether they will be the same size. And also, no second sleeve syndrome. Very good. On the downside, better, obsession with blurriness. So on the downside, the progress is so much slower. I mean, visually it's so much slower. I didn't make the same mistake as I did with my Mira sweater, and I have divided my skein of yarn into 2 balls, because this way I can easily untangle the yarn, and I don't have a problem that I have thread trapped here between the sleeves. Because with my Mira sweater I was knitting like I knit my socks, meaning from the this end and from the inside and outside end. And it's all very well unless you knit a sweater where the sleeves are already connected to the sweater, and it makes it then really not easy to manage. It is possible, I've tried it, but it's so frustrating and time consuming that it's simply not worth it. So yes, I have divided my skeins this time. makes it much easier. So this is my flax, and I have also my Cozy Memories blanket and the new needles for my blankie. Yay! So my parents visited, as I mentioned in the last episode, and they brought me what I ordered, meaning fixed circular high sharps. Yes, they are 3 millimeters. And it's US size 2.5, 80 centimeters, meaning 32 inches cable. And there was this cute pink stitch marker together with them. Do you see that? Not very visible. And yes, I have to practice more with them because I'm not used to such pointiness. I mean, I am delighted by such pointiness, but it will take some time for me to get used to them. But yes, knitting is much more fun with them than with my Knit Pro Zings. What is interesting, Mina from Knitting Expat Podcast, hi Mina, she recently was knitting something on higher sharps, and then she switched to zings, and she could actually knit faster on zings because she was not splitting the yarn so easily with them. But if you know Mina, she is a super fast knitter as opposed to me. So probably that's why it was a problem for her. She's so fast that it becomes difficult not to split the yarn. But for me, well, it's the opposite for now. I'm still hoping I will get faster at knitting. Because yes, with practice, we should become quicker, right? So my Cozy Memories blanket. I have 2 new squares because I really wanted to try out my new higher sharps. I also love the color of the cord, and also that it's you call it, like smoked glass, you know, it's not shiny, it's a bit foggy. I don't know how to say it, but it's pretty cool. I really like them, and I'm already thinking about buying more of higher sharps because I have one set of high-hats, which are these. They also have a cool cord, but this one is shiny, actually. It's different. They are 3.5 millimeters, which makes it US size 4, and they are just higher, not higher sharps. That's just because, I did not happen to happen upon them, upon sharps. So these are pretty good, but these, oh my god. So yeah, I'm thinking about buying more fixed needles just because I'm lazy, and it's I'm lazy to attach new needles when I just want to make a quick swatch or something. I'm just, do I have to like unscrew one set and then rescrew another, while with these I can just grab them and knit. Lazy. Yes. Anyway, where was I? Oh yes, my Cozy Memories blanket. So this square is my handspun yarn that I've used before, but in row 1. It was here. So it's by just a moment, by whom? Oh yes, the Woolly Witch. Sorry, I just got a brain fart. So this is by Woolly Witch, and the colorway was the sea dragon of Loch Ness. And there's some stellina in it, and I think it's mostly merino with some stellina. And when I spun this yarn, I still had some left, so I used it for another square, and it's actually still connected. I made it so I used another colorway together with it and then plied them so that they would align. So it's 2-ply yarn that I spun together so the colors would match. Funny. So it looks like a little lollipop. And this one I also use already, and I'm planning to use it, but I'm not allowed yet because it's in row 2, so I will be able to use it in row 4. That's my rule. And another square is Jinx Yarns. It's Jinx Yarns in Eternal Sonata colorway, and it's, I believe, I always mix it whether it's power sock or strong sock, but it's the BFL nylon blend. And I've knitted a pair of socks for myself from this yarn, and I still have some left. It's this one. And yes, my blanket is growing, but I haven't hidden the ends like in ages, so I have to do it one day, I think. Don't you think? So yes, another project. I believe it's the last one. The last project, the last knitting project today is a pair of socks, because first of all, I've missed knitting socks. I wanted to work more on my sweater and my shawl, so I did, but now that the shawl is done, I allowed myself to cast on a pair of socks. So I have only this much done, and these are planned for my husband for his 30th birthday, which is January 16. So I've normally when I cast on the toe, I cast on 10 stitches per needle, which is 20 in total, but with Gleb's socks I decided to do 12, so it's 24, so the toe is a bit broader because he has much larger feet than me. And yeah, there was some I got some questions about these socks, so I will be explaining it in detail. So the plan is to make him socks that won't have the pearl bumps touching the foot, but the opposite side, so the smooth side of the stockinette stitch, which means on the top of the foot there will be regular stockinette stitch, and on the back there will be reverse stockinette. And yeah, I heard this technique is called a princess foot. For well, you would think it's for princesses, but princes also appear to enjoy it. And what I've done, I used for the toe, I've used Jinx Yarn's Eternal Sonata that I showed you. So I put these two together, and I think also on the camera you can't really see the contrast going on here, or can you? It's very like this is much more bluish and this is much more greenish, but both of them are pretty manly colors. So this is the toe, and I have just started the other part. Maybe here you can see it. This is the back, I mean the other side. So this is how it looks like. And my main color is Wollmeise. Wollmeise Twin, 80% wool and 20% nylon, and it's superwash merino with nylon. Yeah. Oh my god, it's just written in a weird way, and it's 150 grams skein, so it's larger than your regular sock yarn, and the colorway is pot splits, and the length is, oh, but they wrote the length for 100 grams, which is 311 meters. But yards, they wrote for 150 grams, which is 510 yards. Go figure. Weird. Anyway, this is a yarn that I bought when I was at Edinburgh Yarn Festival, and I thought I would use it for socks for Gleb, actually. I really love this colorway. It's so pretty. So I was thinking contrasting toes, heels and cuffs, but I will see how contrasting it turns out. When I look at the left one, it looks kind of contrasting. I think they will be kind of cool. So the needles I'm using are Chaogu 2.5 millimeter needles, which is US size 1.5 on a very long cable of 120 centimeters, and it's perfect for a pair of socks because this is my like usual technique of knitting 2 at a time on magic loop. And just to think that when I was starting I was so scared of magic loop. I mean, it seemed so complicated and that I can't do it. So if one of you is thinking the same, you can do it. You can totally do it. What else did I want to say? Oh yeah, I was, well, when I first cast on, it was 24 stitches, then I was increasing here at the toe until I got 64 stitches. For myself, I usually knit 56 stitches, so I think it should be enough. And also this Wollmeise yarn, it seems a bit thicker than your regular sock yarn, so I suppose 64 should be enough. So my video just got divided, and I mean the file was too large already, so it got split, and I don't remember what I was exactly talking about. But yay, my husband's socks. If you have any questions about what I'm doing with them, how I'm knitting them, just ask. I will be trying to explain everything I do successively during the podcast. And tell me what you think about these colors. I think they are nice together because Gleb is, he likes traditional manly colors, if I can say so, meaning mostly dark or dull. So I thought, first of all, this yarn, the Jinx yarns, it's a manly color, but it's so rich and full of other colors hidden behind the black. It's amazing. And this one it's just so captivating for me. This green also shining through almost black. It's very nice. And it's also my first time knitting with Wollmeise. I know it's famous, so I really wanted to try it out. And I have another skein that when I bought it, I thought of socks for myself. Something like this. Yeah, it's pretty different, huh? So it's just, so full of colors. And I can't wait. I mean, I have a lot of sock yarn to work on, but I love knitting and wearing socks, so it doesn't matter. This yarn's time will come. Go back, please. Go back, please. Yes, I have this ambition to maybe not knit through all my stash, but really deplete it quite a lot, because yes, I would like my stash to be more circulating than languishing. But we will see if I can do that, because of course I don't knit as fast as I can buy yarn, so you know. So these are the princess foot socks, if I can call them that. And now we can go to spinning. I also have a finished object. So my Porpoise fur Delta is done. It's Shetland wool, and this is this cute porpoise here. Cute porpoise, come here. And this is the yarn. I'm very happy with it, even though, of course, I was wrong again about the weight of the yarn I will get after plying. But yes, well, life is fun because it's full of surprises. I'm very happy about the colors, how they turned out. I have Navajo plied this yarn so that I kept the sections of colors. So it comes from blue through turquoise, then into yellow, then into brown, and back to blue, and then navy blue. So it's where was it? I had it written down somewhere. Oh, why didn't I write it down in my show notes? So just a moment. I have it in my spinner's notebook. Anyway, it's 113 grams and 258 meters. So I'd say it's not fingering weight, of course. It's more of a DK weight, maybe even worsted. But hey, I got it done! And I did all the plying in one day, which is awesome. Yeah, I love the colors. And I saw, because I follow Porpoise Fur on Instagram, so I saw her vending somewhere, and on her booth I saw a braid. I'm pretty sure it was the Delta colorway, which is this one. But with spinning, it's amazing how it's up to you how the yarn turns out. Because I could just double ply it and make all the colors jumbled, and I could Navajo ply it and keep the sections of color. I have already an idea for another braid that I have, that I would also try to keep the sections of color but to double ply it. Well, it would be basically something like this one. just me trying to match the sections, but it's not that easy with something larger than a Rolex. For this one I just used a couple of Rolex, but with 100-gram braid it might be more difficult. We will see what happens. Right now I'm thinking about a little break from serious spinning projects, because as I'm a beginner, 100-gram braid is still a serious project for me. I know some people can spin like 1 kilogram of fiber, and that's a more serious project for them. But yeah, this took me quite a while. If you've been following the show, you know that I've been showing this almost every week and showing I have this much more. But anyway, I thought I will just spin something smaller this time, some Rolex that I have, or ponies. So right now I've just started spinning on this. This is again by Velvet Fibers, and it's called 4 Shades of Shetland. And it's again Shetland. I don't know, there's my life is full of Shetland these days. So I bought it quite a while ago together with those other ponies that were the blue ones and the red ones, the Fafnir's Heart and Crystal Ice Cave. So these are not dyed, as I understand it. These are just various natural colors of Shetland sheep blended together to create something like this. So I've just started spinning on one pony, and it's I decided it will be a single, so again I can keep the nice color sections. And it's interesting, I've already spun the darkest. I started on this side, so I spun the darkest section, and then I'm into this lighter brown, and I can tell that the fiber is much softer and finer in the lighter color than in this darkest one. So it's very interesting, isn't it? And yes, what else about my yarns? So it will be a really short dyeing section. You can use a 15% off coupon code to shop in my Etsy shop for my yarns and some spinning fibers too. So the coupon code is Winter Knits 2016, and it's valid till the end of the year. So yeah, feel free to use it and have a nice Christmas knitting. Last section, life. So as I mentioned before, my parents visited for the long weekend. I mean, it was a long weekend in Poland because November 11th is our national holiday, Independence Day. So they just took Thursday and Monday off, and they came for a long weekend. And thanks to that, I have a fridge full of products I won't ever eat. That's my mom's doing. But also thanks to that, I could go out to a cinema with Gleb, which was awesome. We went to see Doctor Strange with Benedict Cumberbatch and some other famous actors. And yeah, I had a lot of fun. As you know, I really enjoy superhero movies, unless they're really crappy, and it happens. But this one is really fun, and I really love the visual side of this movie. It's just so amazing. There's a lot of special effects, but they are so creative. It was something. If you know the game The Room, it reminded me of that, because there was a touch of steampunk in it, I would say. But yeah, I highly recommend the movie. I had a lot of fun. What is nice in Swiss cinemas, they give you a break in the middle of the movie. They just stop for I think 10 or 15 minutes, so just you can go to the toilet or buy some snacks. That's brilliant, really, because sometimes you just sit there and can't wait for the movie to end, or you just leave to the toilet and then you miss some of the movie. Whilst in Switzerland, you can rest assured there will be a break for you. Awesome. Ingenious, simply. Also, thanks to my parents' visit, we could go for a nice hike, Gleb and me. So we got to have some couple time. And we had... I finally went to Uetliberg, which is like the most famous mountain top around here in Zurich. But somehow I never got to go there. So I said, yeah, let's go there finally. And that's what we did. There is actually a train going up. So you can hop on the train, and then we walked like on the top of the hills / mountains. There's a path called the planetary path, and it means they put like information on, how do I say it? So they basically took the solar system and made it much smaller, like 1 billion times smaller or something like that. And then when you walk, you pass various planets. So at first they are really close together, and then to reach the next planet you go much longer. And then you start with the sun, and we went to the Felsenegg, which is the mountaintop closest to us. It's actually in our town. It's in Adliswil, and then you can go down with a cable car. So there's Pluto in Felsenegg, and I love Felsenegg, and I've been there quite many times, and I must admit that the view is much nicer from our mountaintop. I'm hoping to post photos here, so you can also enjoy it. Of course, pictures are not the same as the real thing, but anyway, I still have some muscle pains in my legs, but it was very nice. There was no rain that day, although there was a lot of rain the day before, so it was a bit muddy here and there, but other than that, it was beautiful. There were still colorful leaves here and there, like beech trees, and yeah, beautiful. I was so happy we got to see that before the leaves fell down. So yeah, it was nice, and we had at Uetliberg we had fondue with mushrooms, and it was delicious. I mean, fondue is something that I usually am able to eat once, maximum twice per season, because after eating a pot full of melted cheese, you don't feel like doing that again anytime soon. But for those of you who are not aware, winter is actually the season for fondue. If you are visiting Switzerland in summer and they offer you fondue, it's a thing only tourists do. It's purely for tourists. enjoyment, because it is in fact a winter dish. And what else? Oh yeah, about knitters on the screen. I'm still playing The Witcher, and one viewer, hi Ola, she mentioned that in Witcher 3 there is a knitting reference, and indeed I finally stumbled upon it. There's a woman there. Basically, on your quest you go to a woman who is, I don't know how it's translated to English, but a person who dreams professionally, or you come to her and she guides your dreams to find out some facts. And yeah, and Geralt goes to her and she puts him to sleep and sits next to his bed and she starts knitting. That's just an amazing scene. Awesome. I was so happy. Books. I've been listening, last week I mentioned I was listening to Kingfisher by Patricia Mackiewicz. I finished it, I enjoyed it. Because it's a new book by her, I get the feeling that she's recently like losing her tooth, if you can say it. It's just most of her book these days, and really in a sugar sweet way, and that's a bit not to my taste, let's say. I like happy endings. I don't like those endings that are completely horrible, gloom and doom, but then it's a bit strange for everything to end like la la la, and it's funny for me to say about fantasy, things like that, but unrealistic. I really enjoy realistic fantasy, and by realistic I mean psychological probability, and also that the created world would work logically. There can be magic there, but it has to be believable. So yeah, anyway, fun book, and I was not disappointed. Then I wanted a new audiobook, but my problem is that if there is a book I would like to read, it turns out that it's not turned into an audiobook, usually, and if it is, then it turns out that the narrator is just horrible. And I can't stand it. I can't listen to a voice that makes me irritated. So it's difficult for me to find audiobooks because of that. I just so loved Stephen Fry's Harry Potter. I think I will be listening to it again in no time, because I love Harry Potter and how Stephen Fry reads it. So in my desperation, I decided to buy Bridget Jones's Diary audiobook, because you can listen to the sample on Audible and decide whether the narrator is okay for you. And I thought the narrator, it's Imogen Church, she's brilliant. She is just brilliant. And I've read Bridget Jones's Diary a couple of times. I know it's not like, it's a bit a silly book, but it's just so much fun. So I thought, yeah, I will just have fun and listen to that, and nice narrator. So I did, and then I thought, maybe the same narrator read some other fun books. So I stumbled upon The Witches of Cambridge, read by Imogen Church, and I thought, yeah, let's give it a try. And I listened through it all, but I was not delighted. I mean, it was an okay book, but I have a lot of buts. Meaning, first of all, okay, I know that the title says of Cambridge, which means people connected to university and academic life and stuff like that. But if all of the characters, almost all, are really well educated people who go on dates to museums or art galleries or go to bookstores and stuff like that, you get so like, give me a break, we're a normal people. Because they don't do any mundane things, you know. And one of the characters is portrayed as maybe a bit silly, but enchanting young woman. But for me, she's just an idiot. A really selfish person who doesn't care what happens to others as long as she gets what she wants. And yeah, she made me really irritated. And also it was very depressing. I was listening to that book and it's like, something bad is happening again and again, and they are all so sad and suffering. And after Bridget Jones's Diary, it was really a big change. So yes, and what I was also irritated about, it was the fact that there were devices used to puff the book to be longer. And it's done by screenwriters and it's done by writers. It's basically the thing that people don't say the truth. They really want to say something or ask something, but they can't make themselves do that. And it's okay if there is one person having that problem, but if everyone has the problem, it is a problem for the book, because it's really irritating. It's annoying, and you're just reading or listening and just do it now. I can't stand you trying anymore. It just, oh. So the book would be much shorter if they just spoke their minds, because yeah. And even though I have all those complaints, I finished the book. So it means I did enjoy it in some ways. And it's funny how I recently chanced upon books about food, because in Kingfisher there is a diner and food is described in a lot of detail, and in The Witches of Cambridge you have cafe run by the idiot, and there are like all those desserts are really described in detail as well. So it's strange, but yeah. So I think I've talked really a lot about not crafty things now. Well, but then if you don't enjoy it, you can always skip it, because I put it on the back. So thank you so much for joining me. I don't know, I'm a bit in a strange humor today. So yes, thanks so much. We wish you a wonderful week, happy knitting, and we will see you next time. Bye!